Discover how to triple your salary quickly and easily with 8 habits revealed by Li Ka-Shing. Today I'm going to share with you the secret to significantly increasing your income through small habit changes. After all, the difference between a financially stressful life and a prosperous life lies in how we handle our money. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to reveal 8 habits that can transform your financial situation, even if you are on a low salary. Well, let me share this reflection with you. You know, after paying all the bills, I often find myself with a tight take-home pay. The feeling is that money just disappears, doesn't it? That's when I realized I needed to change my approach to finances. Instead of simply spending and saving what was left, I decided to reorganize my way of thinking. Following the advice of the great Robert Kiyosaki, I learned to prioritize setting aside a portion of my salary for my financial goals. So, before taking the remaining money and spending it, I made a commitment to allocate a portion to building a fund dedicated to my most important financial dreams and goals. This change in mindset made all the difference in my journey towards financial prosperity. I've always liked visualizing the future. So, the second habit I want to share with you is about mentalizing and visualizing where we want to get to financially. I believe that having a clear vision of our goal helps us chart the path to achieving it. Just like high-performance athletes who see themselves as winners before the competition even begins, we need to imagine ourselves achieving financial success. This doesn't just mean dreaming, but also concretely planning what we will do with our money. Setting specific and realistic goals gives us a guide to follow. For example, we can set a goal to save an amount corresponding to 6 months' salary for emergencies, or save an amount to fulfill a big dream, such as buying a house. Seeing these goals being achieved motivates us to save in a more disciplined way and keeps us focused on the end goal. With this in mind, let's move towards financial success together. I remember one time I came across that irresistible promotion for a new cell phone. It was the latest model, full of innovative features, and totally tempting. I wanted that device at all costs, even if it meant compromising part of my monthly budget. It was at that moment that I realized how easy it is to fall into the trap of unrestrained consumption. However, I decided to challenge myself to establish rules to avoid impulsive and unnecessary spending. So, I set a personal limit not to spend more than $300 on a product or service that was not essential to my life. Creating this rule was liberating. From then on, I started to develop my own strategies to control my finances. I set a maximum amount for spending on meals out and shopping for clothes. These little mental tricks have simplified my daily choices and helped me strengthen my saving habit. I discovered that implementing these heuristic rules was fundamental to improving my financial management and staying on the path to prosperity. I remember one day when I was surprised to discover that not all millionaires live in sumptuous mansions or drive luxury cars. On the contrary, the majority lead a much simpler and more economical lifestyle. This revelation came through the book The Millionaire Next Door by author Thomas J. Stanley, which showed that true wealth is not related to ostentation, but rather to financial intelligence and the habit of saving. The millionaires shown in the book are those who avoid waste and save more than they spend, thus building a solid foundation of prosperity. This lesson made me reflect on the importance of living simply and sparingly, prioritizing financial planning, and creating reserves to achieve my long-term goals. From this insight, I started to adopt a more conscious lifestyle focused on building sustainable wealth. You know, the 5th tip I would like to share with you is something that completely changed the way I see my finances. Understanding exactly how much money comes in and goes out of my cash flow was a real game changer. Before, I had a general idea of how much I earned and spent, but I didn't track every penny that came out of my account in detail. That's when I decided to take the time to analyze my monthly expenses, separating them into categories and identifying where my money was being invested. I discovered unnecessary expenses, small, impulsive purchases that together represented a significant portion of my budget. This awareness allowed me to reevaluate my financial priorities, cut superfluous expenses, and redirect that money into more solid and lasting investments. Controlling my finances more accurately not only helped me save more effectively, but also gave me a sense of security and empowerment over my own money. I strongly recommend that you also carry out this thorough analysis of your cash flow. Details make all the difference when it comes to building a solid financial foundation. I remember as if it were yesterday the weight that bad debts represented in my life. That feeling of having financial commitments stifling my possibilities for growth and prosperity was distressing. It was a moment of deep reflection in which I realized that the first step to changing my level was to get rid of these financial burdens. I decided to face each debt head-on, analyze all the abusive fees and interest rates that were harming me, and draw up a plan to pay them off as quickly as possible. It wasn't easy. It required discipline, momentary renunciations, in favor of a greater objective. I cut superfluous expenses, rethought my standard of living, and focused on generating extra income to speed up the debt payment process. The feeling of relief when I was free from this burden was indescribable. From that moment on, I promised myself never to let bad debt take control of my financial life again. I learned to live within my means, practicing conscious money management and building a solid foundation for my future prosperity. I'm going to share with you a moment of transformation in my financial trajectory. I always knew that saving was essential to achieving my goals, but I discovered that simply saving wasn't enough. That's when I understood that to multiply my assets, I needed to increase my income. At this point, I took a proactive approach. I looked for ways to generate more money, both through traditional sources, like a part-time job, and by exploring new opportunities, like small ventures or investments. After all, the truth is that it doesn't matter how much you save if your income remains stagnant. With determination and focus, I managed to diversify my sources of income and saw my assets grow more and more. The message I want to leave is don't limit your wealth to just what you can save. Constantly seek to increase your earnings and be open to new financial opportunity. I clearly remember the moment I understood the importance of seeking constant financial education. It was like turning on a light in the middle of the darkness. I realized that continuous learning was the key to unlocking my full potential for growth and prosperity. Every book I read, every course I took, every lecture I attended was another step on the ladder towards financial success. I learned from the mistakes and successes of big names in the market, absorbing their strategies, valuable insights, and inspiring lessons. In a world where knowledge is power, investing in my own financial education has become my #1 priority. After all, as Li Ka-Shing once said, success should always be measured by the lives you touch and the happiness you provide. And it is with this motto in mind that I continue to constantly seek to improve and evolve, thus building a solid path towards abundance and realizing my dream. I remember one sunny Saturday afternoon when I decided to take a few hours to reflect on my financial situation. I sat down at the kitchen table, a steaming cup of coffee beside me, and began leafing through my notebook. It was in this moment of introspection that I realized that I needed to reevaluate my choices to achieve my prosperity goal. I started to analyze every expense, every investment, every sacrifice made for the sake of my financial future. When listing my monthly expenses and income, I realized that there was room for optimization in several areas. Cutting superfluous expenses, renegotiating bank contracts, and increasing my source of income became clear priorities in my mind. With a new look at my financial spreadsheet, I set more ambitious and realistic goals, saving a higher percentage of my earnings, looking for new business opportunities, and investing in my professional development. A sense of urgency mixed with determination as I outlined a detailed plan to step out of my comfort zone and take flight toward financial independence. That afternoon not only marked the beginning of a transformative journey, but the first step towards a life full of possibilities and financial freedom. I clearly remember the vibration in my chest, the feeling of excitement that came over me as I put each of the 8 shared habits into practice. The journey towards financial prosperity was not just a change in my finances, but a complete transformation in my way of looking at life. I found myself reorganizing my thoughts, setting clear goals, and visualizing a future full of achievements. Every small victory in establishing new rules to control my spending and save smartly was cause for celebration. I realized how living simply and focused on financial goals brought me closer and closer to the much-desired economic freedom. By getting out of debt and relentlessly searching for ways to increase my income, I experienced unprecedented personal growth. Adopting the constant search for financial knowledge as a daily habit made me feel more confident in my choices and more prepared for the challenges that arose. Investing in myself became the best decision I ever made, as I discovered that true wealth lies in the continuous evolution of my being. Therefore, I invite you to join me on this extraordinary journey towards abundance and achieving your financial dreams. May each step taken be a testimony of your commitment to a prosperous future full of possibilities. Practice these 8 steps toward prosperity. Transform your relationship with money and achieve the financial stability you dream of. I hope these tips were useful to you. Remember, change starts within us, and small adjustments in our behaviors can bring big results in the long term. If you like this content, leave a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos about finance, and share it with your friends in search of financial independence. Till the next